All right, before we even get started with anything else, someone brought this up to me in reference, I believe, to episode two, and so it needs to be addressed because I didn't address it then, and I got to address it now. Is something that happens in the Hotel Transylvania series. So if you're a Johnny head like me, you're gonna be really excited to hear about this movie series again. Give me 1 second, because there's a light on in the hallway of my house right now, and it's really bothering me. So you're gonna hear me open a door, and it's gonna be really loud and unprofessional. But this is not a professional series. You're here to listen to me talk for an hour about stupid shit. And if you're expecting high quality, you've come to the wrong place. But I'm going to continue talking anyway, because this is an intellectual discussion, and other people in my house, if I wake them up, it's for good reason. No, but they brought up to me. They said, you didn't talk about the fact that there's a major plot hole, or a major plot conflict. Between the first Hotel Transylvania movie and the third Hotel Transylvania movie, because one of the big things about Hotel Transylvania 1, and in fact, one of the only reasons that Dracula ends up accepting Johnny, is that Mavis says she zinged with Johnny. And I don't know if you know this, but you only ever zing once in your life. You only zing with one person in your life. Or do you, you motherfuckers? Because Dracula zings twice. Either that, or he didn't zing with Mavis's mom, and he's a fake ass bitch. But I think that he did. I think he was just lying about the zing thing. Otherwise, his Dracula dick just had a hard on for this blonde bitch in the third movie who's a cruise director and happens to be the daughter of the villain who's like the most infamous monster hunter of all time. And it's a load of horseshit. So thank you to the person for pointing that out. Either you can only zing once, or you can zing as many times as you want. And if a zing is a special thing, that is a Dr. Seuss book, by the way, then I think it should be that you can only zing once, in which case Dracula has violated the rules and should go to prison Transylvania. Um, so I was thinking, now to get to more what I was thinking about right now, which was the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Great franchise, phenomenal franchise, love those guys. What if we tried a spin-off series, because they're the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right? Why don't we try? Has anyone tried a spin-off series, except instead of being teenagers, they're like senior citizens? Obviously, the name would still have to like have a semblance of alliteration, and I'm almost thinking that they don't need to be animals. I think we disconnected even, not disconnected, but separated even more from the original, so that it's its own series. What if we do the senior citizen sun-dried tomatoes? And it's just like a group of, they don't even get four. It's just three of them. It's three sun-dried tomatoes, who go around stopping no do-goodery. So like, the only problem there is we then have to figure out who the villains are going to be, right? Because Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has if you were a casual, you might say, well, what villains are there outside of Shredder? They called me the Shredder in high school because I was so ripped. I could do in my prime about two pull-ups, maybe two and a half. But if you were a real turtle guy, you would know that they got Baxter Stockman, they got Krang, they got, oh wow, I don't know their names. Oh, oh, my cursor's been on the screen the whole time. Just look at that. We'll just pretend that was an aesthetic choice. Um, who are the fuckers from like? Oh no, because they're not the ones from the second movie technically, but like the fucking like Warthog and whatnot. What are their names? I don't actually know anything about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Regardless, the senior citizen sun-dried tomatoes need to have need to have their own like original set of villains. I'm worried because I was thinking maybe we do like kitchen utensils, but then like immediately what comes to mind is a knife, and when I think of fruit and knives, I think of the annoying orange, and I don't want them to sue us because he's like a powerful guy. You know what I mean? Like he's not as popular as he was in his heyday, but you got to imagine the orange has still got like cash flow. Y'all remember when Annoying Orange was popping off? First of all, I remember watching the Annoying Orange video where he gets kidnapped by Jigsaw, and I didn't know anything about those movies. Um, it's like a really fucking weird crossover. Like obviously it wasn't an actual cross. I mean it was. They got the real serial killer. But no, like the Annoying Orange, in spite of the fact that the main gimmick was knife and there was blood and shit, like it was very clearly aimed towards kids, and like doing like a parody spin on Saw just feels like maybe it's a bad idea. But do you remember when they did like a in I remember them doing like an Angry Birds thing, the orange, and it was really cool because you could remember when oh man, remember when you used to be able to leave notes on YouTube videos? Like you literally used to like be able to write a little note and stick it to the video. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? I associate that with the era where like there were all the lyric videos for certain songs, and the text would be like this slightly glowy text, and it was clearly made in like Windows Movie Maker or something. Oh man, I have nostalgia for the early days of YouTube, man. I would be listening to fucking I used to bop to Katy Perry Firework. That was a big one that I remember, which is funny because nowadays if Firework is not even like a top five, it might not even be a top 10 Katy Perry track, right? Because like if we're being dead honest about it, if we're being like dead honest about it, uh, Last Friday Night clears, Teenage Dream clears, uh, even when she started to fall off, Birthday clears. Uh, y'all gonna give me some shit for this, but Chain to the Rhythm I'd rather listen to than Firework. What am I missing? Oh, the one that got away, Hot and Cold, they clear. So you get the point. Um, I don't really fuck with California girls. Firework might clear that one, but oh, Tile Cruz Dynamite, that was shit that I was bumping. Dude, Tile Cruz Dynamite went like triple platinum at my elementary school, dog. People were like, that was the shit, dog. Um, Tyler Cruz is one of those guys like Jay Sean. You remember Jay Sean? He did "Down, Baby." You did like one of the best pop songs of its era. Um, Tyler Cruz and Jay Sean operate in a very similar like area of my brain where it's like they had such like they clearly weren't one hit one. Well, okay, Jay Sean was no Jay Sean had two hits. I don't know how if he had two charting hits, but he had two hits because he had Down, which is the main one, but he also had what the fuck is it? It's like ride it, dun, 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 ride it, na, 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 na. Anyway, Tyler Cruz also had multiple hits. He had the one that was on the Jersey Shore soundtrack. Uh, I'm only gonna break your heart. Yeah, that, and then he also had oh, the one David Dobrik used to use. That fucking guy. I got a hangover. Whoa. Here's funny. Here's an interesting factoid about Jay Sean. Jay Sean performed at both mine and my brother's college freshman orientation. I don't know if it was called freshman orientation or like just our like welcome day, but Jay Sean performed on the fucking shitty ass fucking I don't remember what it's called. I'm just gonna say the lawn. Uh and it was really funny. First of all, the headliners for that show, there were headliners, was some like shithead magician. Uh he was probably a nice enough guy. I'm just being really mean about it, but his like tricks were like the type of shit you'd see on Facebook. Um, and Oh, there was a DJ that was up there before Jay Sean, just like one of the college students. Um and he was hyping up the crowd way more. I remember at one point he started playing like he started playing music from different like ethnic backgrounds. So he was playing like Afrobeat shit and like Indian shit. And I'm not gonna lie, my man was doing a good fucking job. Like people were jumping up onto the fucking stage to like dance to it. That shit was sick. Not to be cringe, diversity is swag as fuck. And if you're racist, kill yourself. Um, but no. Then Jay Sean came on. Jay Sean came on. Here's something I didn't know about Jay Sean. He's fucking British. I mean, that explains why he didn't pop off. Cause like, who's gonna actively support a British person? But like, he's British. That fucked me up. Someone said this once. I think it's a tweet, and it's like been lodged into the back of my mind. You ever notice that you can't tell someone's British when they're singing? They stop faking. They stop faking the accent. I have British family members, man. My mom was born in England. I was not. I've been there, but I was not born there. I can do a British accent. It's just really bad. You just got to say like darling, my love, and in it a lot, and you're kind of just there. Oh, I'd like to go back and maybe have a little bit of fun. Watch a bit of senior citizen sun-dried tomatoes. That sound good, love? That's more Australian. I wasn't good at all. I was doing a good British accent the other day. Um, but no, yeah. So Jay Sean, he's performing, and you know what's fucking sad, man? First of all, he keeps performing shit that no one's ever heard. Because only you maybe people have heard "Riding," and then it's "Down." Those are the only two songs anyone wanted to hear from him, and really it was only "Down." But I remember he was like how he used to be like close with like, or used to at least know like Lil Wayne and Drake and Nicki Minaj and all of them. And I was just like, you know what, man, probably better that you're not associated with any of them anymore. But then at one point he goes, I made this song. This is a collaboration, and I was like, oh shit, is he about to bring someone out? And he's like, this is a collaboration I did with a good friend of mine, uh, Sean Paul. You might know Sean Paul from being the guy in Cheap Thrills that goes bida bong bong. Um, and as someone who finds Sean Paul features on pop songs fucking hilarious, I was like, oh, please, God, bring him out. But sadly, Sean Paul was not there. And, but he was like, and I just don't know why you would like flex this, but he said something to the effect of like, this song actually only came out like a year or two ago, and it actually went like number one in the Netherlands. Dog, that ain't hyping the crowd up. That ain't getting it done. That ain't getting it done. And he had to keep going like, I know the one you're waiting for. It's coming. It's coming. Just play it now, man. Just play it now. It was raining for a lot of the day. He got there late too, which was like crazy. I went with my family to Applebee's after that. I was like, wow, I just saw one of my childhood heroes, and like I felt nothing. Cause I'm like obviously exaggerating saying that, but like "Down" by Jay Sean was one of the first like pop songs that like I really remember being like fucking in love with, and like one of the first pop songs too that I remember watching the music video for. Cause like I said before, I used to watch the like, oh man, like the old school lyric video. You remember the ones that wouldn't even try, where it would just be the like standard blue background with the shitty blurry white text. You know what I used to listen to? I used to listen to "Eat It" and "eBay" by Weird Al Yankovic. I used to listen to those two heavy, and then I would listen to the Lego beer song, beer, it's liquid bread, it's good for you. I might listen to that after this. And then what was the other Lego shit that was popping off on old school YouTube? Oh, I was watching fuck, what was it called? Do y'all know the animated Lego Harry Potter cartoon where like Dumbledore just goes around giving everyone beards and Harry and Ron like kill Hermione or something. Oh man, what was that called? I can't. It's got it, but that was like an old school YouTube thing. That along with Potter Puppet Pals. Wizard Swears was one of the funniest fucking things I'd ever seen in my life when I first watched it. That is a certified YouTube classic. Like those videos are up there with like the original it's peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, way way way. Yeah, man. Old school YouTube was crazy. I remember I would be hanging out with my best friend from elementary school, who I referenced in another one of these videos. I hope he eventually listens to one of these because it would be really funny. Because we do not talk anymore. But I wonder if he would remember this. He he had an iPod Touch. I eventually ended up getting one. I think I referenced that in a video. If I didn't, that's a fun fact you can learn about. Well, okay. Let me finish the story and then I'm gonna go on to my iPod Touch. But nah, we would be watching. We would go over to his house and we'd be hanging out in his room. And when we felt like his mom wasn't in hearing distance, because we were so scared of getting in trouble for this, we would watch Smosh and who I'm going to now refer to as Ryan Higa. We used to watch them heavy. We used to watch the like what were they called? Like if movies were real, if like websites were real, and all of that shit. Here's one. Here's one that here's a joke from one of those videos that I feel like people won't actually get now, that like was actually a good joke at the time. Was if websites were real, and it was Google Images, and I think Anthony tries to search. This is Smosh. Anthony tries to search up like a toaster, uh, and Ian's like, "Were you looking for a naked girl holding a toaster?" And then Anthony was like, "No, I just want a plain toaster." And then he was like, "Oh, so you want a plain girl with a toaster up her ass?" If you used Google Images in the early days, you know how much of a fucking problem that was. We were I it had to have been some point in elementary school because both my brother and I were making I think I've mentioned that I was in Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts, and we were making our Pinewood Derby cars, and we were making them with our dad, and we wanted inspiration. So my dad went on Google Images and literally just looked up like Pinewood Derby car or something like that, and we're scrolling through images, and then there's just like an image of like a naked old woman. um, Google Images used to be a horrible product, and then it was solid, and now it's reverted to garbage because of AI, but that's a separate thing. But no, Google Images used to be a disaster for another reason, and like I think people like now will think that's just another like crass Smosh joke. No, they were accurate with that one. It used to be fucking horrible. But no, we'd also watch. What were the main like? No, I first watched Ryan Higa uh at at one of my brother's friends' houses. One of the early videos. It was the daily life of Rustin Heber, excuse me, I believe, and the Sham Woohoo. And as badly as some of those videos have aged, and this goes for any creators from early YouTube, some of them, especially stuff like the Sham Woohoo, to me still has a charm. Back when YouTube felt a lot more like, the people were just doing it as a hobby. It wasn't a job, and I know that's hypocritical coming as someone who is aiming to be a content creator, or do something on the internet, whether it be a writer, a content creator, a podcaster. I understand that. I'm just speaking from the perspective of like, I miss when content was slightly more shitty and slightly less professional. And it was just people fucking around. They got their hands on a camera and just, what would we want to see? Like, what do we think is funny? What do we there is a charm to that. I would argue that YouTube has better content now. Unfortunately, by virtue of growing larger, they also now have significantly more bad content, but it's a two-way street. Before I start getting too analytical about social media spaces and internet spaces, because that's not what this podcast is for. You're here for the dumb shit. Um, what apps did y'all have on like your iPhone or your iPod Touch? Like, so I got I my as I said, my former best friend had an iPod Touch, and I was constantly like, I was the fucking you got any games on your phone friend. Like, I was constantly bothering him to let me use his iPod. Um, but like, I remember one of the first games I was big into, and the same with my brother, was Dragon Vale. Not that bitch ass Dragon City, even though I think that ended up becoming more popular, but Dragon Vale. Dragon Vale was one of those games where you gotta wait like 3 real life days for your damn egg to hatch. Um, but Dragon Vale was a good time. Then there was I think everyone had Subway Surfers at some point. Jetpack Joyride was the game that I first got addicted to on my friend's iPod. I loved Jetpack Joyride. Um, in terms of which thing is the best Jetpack Joyride, like which power up, which whatever is the best, it's a little stomper. Argue with a wall. Um, then oh man, he had something similar to Jetpack Joyride, and I don't remember what it was called, but it was with like sea creatures. It was like you would be a sea creature and you had a rainbow trail behind you and you went up and down on the screen. If anyone remembers it, because I think that ended up getting removed from the App Store. If anyone remembers that, please let me know. Sea Stars? Am I thinking of something different? Sea Stars is a thing, but I don't know if I'm thinking of something different. Um, but no. Those two or those three, I think, however many I've mentioned. I remember the app for the movie Turbo, which I referenced in another one of the episodes for this, where you got to customize your own snail and race as it. I used to play as that a lot. Oh, I could talk about Flash games. Oh, ho ho. Okay, we are going to finish my bit about the senior citizen sun-dried tomatoes. And I regret to inform you, just like last episode, I stayed heavily focused on one topic. For the last 25 minutes of this episode, sorry, 35 minutes, it might be all Flash games. I think I might have briefly mentioned Flash games at some point in one of the episodes. Actually, I don't think I did. That might have been on one of the streams. Oh man, you guys have this is about okay. If you were on congregate.com, addictinggames.com, miniclip oneMoreLevel.com, we're about to have a good fucking time. But let's get back hold on. I want to check a Sea Stars app. If you meant the arcade mobile game, yeah, it was Sea Stars. It was Sea Stars. Okay. Anyway. Um. No. So, who is the villain for the senior citizen sun-dried tomatoes? Remember, there's only 3 of them, right? So we can't give them villains that are too strong. Now we could have the villains be other like foods or fruit. That reminds me of. Do y'all do y'all remember the Mighty Pickle or the Magic Pickle? I'm not just talking about the thing between my legs. It was a book. There were a couple of them. Um, I don't even remember who the fuck he was fighting. I think he was fighting other vegetables. Hold on, I'm looking this one up as well. Magic. Do any of you know he had such a raw character design? One of the greatest character designs ever. Magic Pickle. Yeah, 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 yeah. Magic Pickle. If you've never read any of the Magic Pickle books, look up Magic Pickle. Because he has such a fucking raw uh character design, man. Um. Anyway, um. No, so I used to. This was something that started with me and my best friend from elementary school. We I think it was more of my dream and I kind of roped them into it. Um I wanted to write comics. I always liked I was never any good at drawing, but I liked to doodle. I was a doodler. My notebooks and my binders were full of doodles. And again, never any good, but I just I had attention problems. um and one of my original ideas was JJ the Wizard. I used to really want people to call me JJ. Now, the only person that calls me JJ, and it was not from me asking, is my girlfriend. And I think that's the fact that fate had things come full circle is funny enough. We went to the movies tonight, and I'm so used to calling me that. Um, she said just called me Jeremy, like my actual name, and I was like, it felt so weird. I was like, that's so wrong. Like it's just you're not supposed to call me that. But nah, man, I love my girlfriend. Anyway, nah, man. Um, but I it was JJ the Wizard, and then I don't want to say my friend's name just in the event he want to be mentioned, but his whatever that followed his name was the Assistant, or sorry, the apprentice, which is slightly better than the assistant, but still, he was the sidekick character. I'm sure he wasn't thrilled about that. But then a character I ended up. Here's what's funny. If I ever made this into a comic, there would be ownership right disputes with another friend of mine because I don't know which of us came up with the character. I remember him being involved in the process at some point, um, but uh, it was Hot Dog Man and Mr. Hamburger. And I've expanded upon the idea uh, all the way into college, as in I've drawn other food characters, some of them heroes, some of them villains. It's exactly as stupid as it sounds, and the doodles are exactly as basic as you'd imagine. But something else I did with that friend was at one of my we used to have, and I'd rather get into this for another episode because or I, if things just keep going this way, I'll save Flash Games for its own episode, and I'll like dedicate that as an episode. But I would like to get back to it if I can. Regardless, me and my brother, our birthday falls in the same month, and it's during the summer. So we used to have a shared birthday party, which you might think is lame, but it was actually great. We used to have our grandparents had a pool in the backyard. I think I brought this up in a previous episode. My grandfather had made it himself, and so we'd have a pool party, and it would always be towards the end of the summer. So it was always a great time. It was not only a birthday party for me and my brother, but it also felt like for us and our friends, it was like the end of the summer, and it was celebrating all the things that great summers had. And I'm this is kind of a shit post of a podcast, but I'm finding myself getting emotional during this part just because I I recognize that I had a very blessed childhood. I was very privileged. I had so many great people in my life, and man, I miss my grandparents dearly every day. I hope all of most of those friends are not people I have any contact with anymore, but I wish them all the best, um, regardless of how any of us treated each other. Um, but we used to have these pool parties at the end of the summer, and me and this one friend that might have some ownership rights to Hot Dog Man and Mr. Hamburger. Um, I remember me and him were like bored during one of the pool parties. Or not bored, but we just weren't doing whatever everyone else was doing for the time being. Um, and we were sat out on like lawn chairs or lounge chairs or whatnot, and we got the idea to put a bunch of different food and beverage items from the party into a singular water bottle, and we named it Miracle Juice. Now, I want to emphasize that I wasn't one of those kids that would like pour their chocolate milk onto their lunch tray. I wasn't a gross out kid. This was something that I was talking to my girlfriend about the other day in the car. I used to Man, I'm so bad at staying on topic, but I'm talking about good memories right now, and I'd like to keep doing that. I was talking to my girlfriend, and I was talking about how my grandparent we'd go, my family would go out to visit my grandparents out on Long Island, um, every weekend, every Saturday, and my grandfather would take me and my brother over to the flea market, and he'd buy us cards, either Pokemon cards, Yu-Gi-Oh cards. If any of y'all ever bought one of like the Panini, um, like sticker books for either the World Cup or for like the NBA, the one we committed ourselves to and were like super invested in getting all of them was for World Cup 2014 in Brazil. Um, but I think at some point we collected baseball cards, but it was mainly Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Um, and I remember I'd always want like the big stuff, and occasionally my grandfather would cave because my grandfather he is sadly the only of my four grandparents still alive, but I'm blessed to have had all four of my grandparents in my life for a fairly significant amount of time. Um, it just he just he knew it made us happy. So even though I was this, annoying little shit kid being like, "Oh, please let me spend," you know, not nearly as much as they are nowadays for like the tins and like the boxes for Pokemon cards, but I would want one of the big things, and every so often he would let me get one of them. And the same with the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Um, Although Yu-Gi-Oh didn't have like boxes and tins quite like Pokemon did. They'd have with Yu-Gi-Oh it was usually more like structure decks if you were gonna buy like bigger things rather than buying just singular packs. Um, I've said this, but if I were to ever become obscenely rich, um, one of the stupid rich guy things I would do is collect the shit out of things from my childhood. I would have a wall covered in every single Skylander. I'd buy every single Beyblade. I'd collect all the Pokemon cards, as many Yu-Gi-Oh cards as could collect. I'd like to think that if I was stupidly rich that I would use most of the money towards good things, but if there is something that I would spend stupidly on, it's absolutely nostalgia bullshit from my childhood, man. Um, but where was the point I was getting to? Oh, it was about gross out stuff. I was talking to my girlfriend. There used to be the only thing I didn't like about going to the flea market with my grandfather, um, was either in or near the card section. Um, there was I don't know if you guys remember these, but they were like parody cards or like parody posters and parody stickers of like brand items but made to be gross. So like instead of Cocoa Puffs, it would be like doo doo puffs. Instead of Hawaiian Punch, it would be like Hawaiian Puke, and it would be literally like an image of a guy puking into a bottle on the thing. I want to look this up because I want to like be able to name it, but I don't want to see the imagery. I remember that shit always. I was never a gross out person. Um, and that shit was always for a while. It was with the Pokemon cards and all that shit, and I think then it got moved, but it was still in like a similar area where we had to walk past it in the flea market. Um, I don't think it was like directly related or associated with like the Garbage Pail Kids, but it was something. Hold on, gross out card, gross out training cards. What were they called? Oh, gross out training cards are their own thing, but that's not what I'm looking for. Um, Everyone knows about. Oh, was it wacky packages? Hold on, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm looking this up. I think it might have been wacky packages. No, but wacky packages doesn't look as gross as I remember. No, it was wacky packages. It was 100% wacky packages. Never. Yeah, yeah. That's enough of that. Um, but No. Anyway, back to the back to the birthday party. I don't know. We just felt like throwing a bunch of stuff in there, so we put in a couple different sodas, a couple different drinks. We put in like like we ripped off a piece of pizza. We ripped off skin from fried chicken, um, and eventually it ended up turning like a purplish gray color and had a really interesting smell to it. We put a blade of grass in there, and then I ruined it because I was like, let's put in a piece of garlic knot. And my friend was smart, he was a chemist. Uh, he was, he was, he was an 8-year-old chemist. Now, we might have been like 10 or 11 at that time, which is even worse, um, but he was like, nah, don't put the garlic knot in there because that's garlic is too overwhelming. Like then it's just right now it's got like a unique smell to it. If you put the garlic knot in there, it's just gonna smell like garlic. And I put the garlic knot in there, and that kind of ruined it. I remember we tried to have one of my brother's friends drink it. There was no hiding what was in there. Like he knew what it was, but we're like trying to convince him to do it, and he considered it. But then he was like, "Nah, I wasn't taking a sip of that shit. I was a pussy." Um, but y'all remember this is just something I got reminded about because I was thinking about like the different food and beverages that we would have at and we had a lot of stuff, man. My parents, I again, I had a very lucky, very blessed, very privileged childhood, but did you guys have the friends who for some stupid fucking reason would puncture their Capri Sun or like Kool-Aid pouches from the asshole? Like there's a little slip on top to put it in, and people would just puncture it from the bottom, and I never understood that. I was never one of those people. I don't think I ever did that once in my life, and I'm proud of that. Were you guys? Did you guys fuck? If you if start bench cut, uh Capri Sun, Kool Aid, High C. That's tough for me. And let's say we're talking purely about the packages. So it would be the Kool-Aid jammers, I believe. We're not talking about like the powdered. It has to be the ones that come in like the pouches. I this is like such a hot take. I almost think High C is start. Cause dude, Flash and Fruit Punch, dog. I used to go to Bible camp, the least shocking thing you've heard all night. Um And oh man, even if even if it was like hot dog night and I never actually there was like a year in my life where I liked hot dogs and then I went back to hating them. But if it was like even if it was a food I knew I wasn't gonna like, when I saw those fucking high C packages, I was so fucking hyped. I loved high C as a kid. So honest to God, high C might be my starter in that group. Then it gets difficult because like branding and packaging wise, I fucking love the Kool-Aid man. You know, I took a photo. I gotta upload this to my Instagram. I took a photo with the Kool-Aid man the night the Knicks won the championship. Um, Me and my buddy were walking around and it was fucking packed in the street. And we saw on the sidewalk that there was just some guy in a Kool-Aid man outfit. So we went over and took photos with him. Um, Oh man, I know it was a fucking movie, and then it ended up being kind of shit because I deal with like anxiety and other mental health issues, and I don't want to get into the personal details of that evening, but I was no, fuck it. I'm not gonna get into the personal details of that evening, but my girlfriend came to my rescue, and I'm sorry, but no, I'm not going to apologize for being corny right now. My girlfriend is my guardian angel, and I adore her, and she is just the most beautiful, wonderful, amazing woman in the world. Um, and all the hard work that she's doing right now allows me to do my online bullshit. So, um, baby, when you get the chance to listen to this, I love you very much. Um, but nah, man. Fuck. Kool-Aid. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, I'll definitely do. I'll. Flash games will be probably the focus for the next episode, which is kind of unfortunate because I feel like the font and color layout I went with right now kind of fits like a Flash games vibe. But sorry again for the cursor being on the screen at the beginning. I don't think that matters. Like the main point is to listen to the audio for this, especially once I have. I think you need 5 episodes to upload to Spotify. I'm the whole point of the series is to get off track, but I'm getting off track in an unentertaining way. Kool Aid or Capri Sun. I remember not only at birthday parties, but at like the end of year school parties in the park having Capri Sun significantly more than Kool Aid. So this is probably going to be the most unpopular way that you could line these up, but I'm gonna start high C. I'm gonna bench Capri Sun and I'm gonna cut Kool Aid. I can't believe I'm saying that. That feels wrong, but you know what I used to have a lot as a kid? I used to my these were just things obviously my mom would pack for lunch. Okay. The thing I was gonna say first was the Scooby Doo fruit snacks. Um, I remember Scooby was like this fucking gross blue color, like this really fucking unnatural blue color. Uh, and his gummy in particular had a weird ass texture. Um, but I I remember my mom only a couple of times got like the Dunkaroos, or I don't think it was Dunkaroos. I think it was one of the knockoffs, but it was the ones with like the Oreo sticks and then the Oreo cream. And I was a disgusting sick fuck. This is why I got bullied in elementary school. I would just eat the cookies on their own, and then I would use my finger to like twirl out the Oreo cream and lick it off my finger. And then if I couldn't get the rest out, I'd just lick it out of the package. That was a detail I didn't need to share. Anyway, to go back to my grandparents for a second, because the Scooby Doo thing reminded me. Um, we used to, first of all, and even to this day, even as my brother and I are both in our 20s, um, when we go over there, my grandfather will get out a paper plate and pour out a plate of pretzels for us. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little emotional. Um, my grandparents, uh, especially on my dad's side, were very much the type that even that would come in and you were just watching cartoons or some shit, and they'd be like, you hungry? Do you want a snack? And even if you were like, nah, I don't really need a snack, they'd always come in with something. And something, oh, fuck. I'm sorry for getting personal and emotional. Um, me and my brother would always be the taste tester for my grandma. She'd always make my grandma, um, was, um, had an Italian background, and so it was almost always pasta, and she'd come in with a small plate with 2 pieces of ravioli, one for me and one for my brother, and she said, "Let me know. Does it need an extra minute? Is it ready? You guys have to. You guys have to." I miss her. I miss all my grandparents. I'm very lucky that my grandfather's still with us. That man's not allowed to go anywhere anytime soon, man. I I I like him to be at my future wedding. I hope he's around. I'm sorry for getting emotional, but one of the other snacks at my that my grandparents would give us was my grandfather would give us these dinosaur fruit snacks. And I remember loving them as a kid, even though, one, to this day, I don't know what brand they were. They didn't have a brand. They probably had a brand name on the box, but like on the actual like little packets of gummies themselves, they didn't. It just had like a dinosaur design on it. Um, and I don't remember them having many flavors. I remember it being like a purple one, a slightly darker purple one, an orange one, and like a green one. Very similar to like Lifesavers, how Lifesavers doesn't actually have a very big variety of flavors, at least in like the original packaging. Lifesavers, I used to be a big gummy guy and I've become less of a big gummy guy, but Lifesavers were never my favorite. There is though if you're gonna get Lifesavers, get the pack that has the ones that have dual flavors. uh there's like a strawberry lemonade one, and I think like a pineapple something one. There's a blue and yellow one and like a red and yellow one, and those are like really, really, really good. I will say that for Lifesavers. I'm gonna quick see if I can find where these dinosaur gummies came from, but I remember having those a lot as a kid. The superior Scooby Doo snack was not the fruit snacks. It was the Scooby Doo Scooby Snack graham crackers. Those were so fucking good. Those, along with Teddy Grahams, literally any flavor of Teddy Grahams, were when those were in my lunchbox. I was, oh my god. Yo, here's a weird factoid. Here's a weird factoid I never thought about until now. I saw Ratatouille in theaters. I saw Ratatouille in theaters. I remember that. But I mentioned this in an earlier episode. My first ever DS game was Ratatouille, and one of my first ever lunchboxes was Ratatouille themed. I didn't think about that till just now. I didn't like remember that. I had a Ratatouille lunchbox. I would go into my cubby in the back of the classroom when we'd go down for lunch, and I'd get my Ratatouille lunchbox. Oh man. It would also be I'd be opening that bunch a lunchbox hoping to see a a peanut butter and Nutella sandwich rather than a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, because the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches always got squished because I never handled my lunchbox as well, and Nutella was just, I mean, I loved a lot of kids love Nutella, man, and I loved having a peanut butter. I recently bought the new the I recently I recently fuck. Why am I struggling to I recently bought the new Nutella flavor that's peanut flavored, and sadly a letdown. Uh get original Nutella and mix it with just a little bit of peanut butter. Oh my god, bro. You know something, to this day, and I'm an adult, I could do it now, that I have never gotten to do, and I have wanted to do it so bad, is a sandwich with Nutella, peanut butter, and marshmallow fluff. For the record, marshmallow fluff is overrated. That shit's gross as hell. Um, but I feel like if you paired it with Nutella and peanut butter, might be good as shit. Um, Marshmallow sauce, which is usually like made using marshmallow fluff if you're going to like an ice cream shop, works depending on who made it and what sundae you're having it with. There's an ice cream place near my house that me and my girlfriend go to that I have gone to my entire life. I adore it. Um, and she's gonna love hearing this too. She might love hearing this more than me saying I love her. Uh, the marshmallow sauce is good. Their sundaes are good, but we took a vacation up to Lake Placid. We've taken two vacations up there now, and very much enjoyed both of them. But there is an ice cream place up in Lake Placid, and since this is not near me, I don't mind mentioning the name. Um, Emma's Lake Placid Creamery. If you ever get the chance, I hate that I'm admitting this. Best ice cream I've ever had in my life. probably by a significant margin too. And the reason that I have a hard time saying that is, again, I've gone to this place near my house since I was a kid, and it has been my summer spot since I was a kid. Um, I love it to death. So admitting that there is a place that makes better ice cream than them, it's difficult to do. But anyway, they do a sundae with peanut butter, hot fudge, and marshmallow sauce up there. I forgot what it was called. The greatest, the greatest dessert potentially of all time. You'd think with hot fudge, marshmallow sauce, and peanut butter, and with cream heavy ice cream, that it would be like overly sweet and just like sickening. It is they have made it with the perfect balance, because that's the problem. I hate saying this, with the place near me that I love so much, is if you get like the marshmallow sauce with the peanut butter sundae, it is just disgustingly sweet, and the sauces become all goopy. Somehow at Emma's Creamery, that shit is harmonious. Please, if you are ever in Lake Placid, go there. um Also, go to the Breakfast Club up there. That is the name. It is a diner. It is wonderful. It is phenomenal. Get the oh, what is it called? I think it's the white pepper gravy. Oh my fucking god! I haven't been able to eat like diner toast or diner French fries with like since, because places don't make it. White pepper gravy is probably fucking full of sodium, but it is so fucking good, man. Oh my god. You could put that shit on bacon if you want to get real dangerous, but then it's a little bit too much. Putting it on like a diner French fry, peak life experience. Peak life experience. I love my girlfriend. I am now thinking about our vacations. I would like to take her on another one. I need to make money. Please watch my content. But nah. How did we get here? We were talking about like, oh, I was talking about like I guess school lunchtime. I was lucky enough to have lunch packed from home. Um you know what I used to my I like to call myself an old man a lot. I like a lot of old man things. I'm very boring. I like board games. I don't like I if I go out, I want to go out. Like if I go out, like I want to be in a car with music blaring, and I want to be I don't want to be making stupid decisions, but I want to be hanging out with people who might be making stupid decisions, because it's entertaining to be around those people. But I don't always want to be the person making the dumb decisions. And when I say dumb decisions, I mean like fun dumb decisions, not dangerous dumb decisions. Um, nah, I prefer to stay at home, invite a couple friends over, just order food, play board games, play Jackbox. Like I'm a very boring guy. And one of my other old man qualities is that I think one of the greatest snack foods of all time, and arguably the most consistent snack food of all time, is pretzels. I think pretzels are phenomenal, and obviously part of that comes from the fact that I would have them all the time at my grandparents' house, and I have such fond memories of that. But funny enough, my favorite pretzels ever were store brand. They were the store brand from from it might have been from two stores, one of which no longer exists. Um, One of them is Key Food. Key Food no longer makes their own pretzels, but they still exist. I loved the Key Food pretzels. It came in this like maroon red sort of packaging, and oh man, it was, they were nice and crunchy and thick. They were well salted, but not overly done. Um, and then I'm pretty sure Wallbaum's might have had their own brand of pretzels. The greatest fried chicken I've ever had in my life, or the two greatest fried chickens that I've ever had in my life, were Pathmark, which also no longer exists, and this one I've heard people tell me the same thing. So I would love to hear if other people have had this experience. I don't live in the South, so I don't get to experience it often. But when I visit, Publix fried chicken is fucking goated. You can have your conversations about fucking Chick-fil-A, KFC, Popeyes. Give me Publix fried chicken over any of those any fucking day of the week. It clears. Um, but nah, man. I used to like Key Food pretzels. And so those would be in my lunchbox a lot. Um, I was never a Doritos kid. I wasn't a Doritos kid. Uh, I wasn't a Cheetos kid, but I was a Cheese Doodles fan. And I've been disappointed in recent years because Cheetos Puffs, um, their equivalent to Cheese Doodles, are too thick and they are as advertised. They are puffy, whereas Cheese Doodles used to be thinner and have more of a crunch to them. They would almost scratch the roof of your mouth, but they were a lot tastier and would also fuck up your fingers even more. And that's why people constantly thought I was gross because I'd have fucking Oreo cream cheese doodle fucking powder fingers. But then cheese doodles started to go in more of like a puffy rather than crunchy direction, and that disappointed me. Um, Damn, we're running low on time. I had a great bit about how the senior citizen sun-dried tomatoes. Uh, you know how the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, their leader is an older figure. It's Master Splinter, and he's kind of like an old man. I thought it would be funny if the sun-dried tomatoes that are senior citizens were led by like an infant. Like it's just like a not uh a not fully grown like cherry tomato, and so like the sun-dried senior citizen tomatoes are like, help! We need to defeat. How do we, Master? How do we defeat our great enemy? And then their leader is just like an infant, so he's just like, and then they're like, but sir, we're not strong enough. Okay, Master, as you say. Anyway, that was my great bit. But nah, man. Nah, man. At these pool parties, man, we had my brother used to be big into soccer, and I enjoyed watching it, but I didn't play it like he did. I played baseball and basketball and wasn't good at either. But we'd play soccer in my grandparents' backyard, and at one point we had two different soccer nets because originally we only had one because my grandparents they had this massive backyard, and at the back were two trees that were so perfectly lined up that they worked as posts. So we just had a makeshift goal in the back, and then we had an actual goal that we'd like bought from the store, just like a small like not like a super small kitty one, like not like the like semicircle shaped ones that you'll see, but like obviously not like a professional size net. But eventually we had two actual nets. Um, and what we do at these pool parties is we put the soccer nets at each end of the pool, and the older kids, so my brother and his friends, and the younger kids would play like a makeshift version of water polo. And one of the years, one of my cousins from England was actually in for our birthday, and he played with us, and I have very fond memories of that. We would also, much to the chagrin of the adults, we would play chicken. If you don't know what chicken is, uh, someone gets up on someone else's shoulders, uh, and then you have another pair do the same, and you try and push the other team over. Um, if you can't understand why the adults weren't cool with that, we were a bunch of idiot kids, and uh, again, my grandfather had made this pool, but this is the case with most pools anyway. The sides were just like rock, like they were just like cement or whatnot. So you could easily have cracked your skull if you, instead of falling back into the pool, you hit the side of the pool instead. But that never happened. So I loved playing chicken. I loved playing water polo. Um, I got to be honest with you, man. Um, Outside of maybe the first episode. Now, the first episode I was just like in a flow, but this is the first episode that I'm sad is coming to an end because I'm sticking to my bit of it being exactly an hour. I know on YouTube, a couple of the episodes show up an hour and 1 second, but I'm sticking to that bit. Um, I'm also supposed to stick to the bit that I don't do an outro, so I have to talk about something specific for the last 20 seconds. Um, I just bought the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in Injustice 2. I am probably the only human being who still plays Injustice 2, and I've heard rumors that there's going to be an Injustice 3. And as bad as Injustice 2 is, I kind of want that to happen. I kind of want to make my own fighting game, and that might be the next episode of the Hour Hour, but I haven't decided that yet.